Shwmai, croeso I gyfres o bodlediadau sy'n trafod saith maes sydd o bwys o brofiadau bobl ifanc dan ofal. Welcome to a series of podcasts where we will be discussing the 7 areas of importance to young people's experiences of care. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the sensitive topics we're about to discuss. The content covers life in a care setting, the effect of negative mental health, relationships both personal and professional, and grief. The podcasts have been created in a safe space for young people to facilitate freedom of expression on their real-life experiences. Support staff have been available to assist before, during, and after the making of the podcasts. If there is anything in the content of the recordings that has affected you, please reach out for support. For more information on the services that support young people, please click the link in our podcast description.
Hello and welcome to the 3rd edition of our podcast. Today I'm with Roxy and Tia. We're going to be discussing love, family and friendships. Rox, do you mind telling me, is it harder to build friendships due to being in care and being moved around so much?
I mean, it is kind of hard because you feel like you can't express yourself, because if you express yourself to your friends, then it's almost like they feel bad for you and you don't want to be in that situation. You want to fit in and you want them to not be like, oh, she's in care and feel bad for her. It's almost like if someone's ill and you tell someone, they're going to feel sorry for you, and that's just not that's not really a vibe, to be honest. It's more like you want to fit in with the crowd and you don't want to be that one that's singled out all the time.
Yeah, I get you. Tia, how do you feel about that? Is it do you find it harder to build friends and build relationships due to being in care?
Yeah, because some of your friends don't understand what you're going through than some other people.
Personally, I think it's harder to build friendships for me because of being in care and stuff. It's affected my mental health and my anxiety, and I just find it difficult to approach people because I fear that they will kind of be scared of me, of my story, and I think that they'll get scared off if I tell them, why I'm in care or just even being in care. So that it really affects me building friendships. So moving on from friendships, I think we should start talking about families and role models. So Tia, could you give me someone who could be a positive role model in your life?
My social worker and my foster carer.
Okay. Why do you think that they could be positive role models to yourself?
Because I've been with her since I was 2 years old, so I trust her with everything. And with my social worker, I trust her with everything because she can do loads of things for me.
Yeah. What about you, Roxy? Any positive role models in your life?
I don't really know how to explain it. I don't really talk to anyone about it. I'm really I keep it in, and then if someone asks me about it, I will talk to them. But I'm not that type of person that will just go up to someone and say how I'm feeling or nothing like that. Or I'm that person that when that person comes up to me and says something, I will answer. I'm not the person that goes up to them and makes conversation, which also can be a good thing, but can be a bad thing as well. So I don't really have a role model, but yeah.
What about someone that you could aspire to be in your family? Is there any family members that you look up to?
Probably my sister, because she's got she does really well. She's got a job, she has her own house, and it just seems like she's built up to that since she was, however old. And, I think it'd be good for me as well to try and be like that as well, even though we have to be ourselves. It's like you said, it's a role model in there, so it's someone you look up to.
Yeah. Tia, you said about trusting your foster carer because she's been looking after you since you were 2. Why is trust so important to you?
Well, if you tell someone the wrong thing, they might tell everyone about your life or your issues. So that's why trust is really hard for me, just in case if you tell the wrong person.
Trust is important for you because you feel that you can comfortably explain and talk to these people without fear of any judgment or anything.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Rox? Trust, is it really important to you?
Yeah, because if you go up to your friend and you really trust her and you see you tell her something that you don't want anyone to know about you, about anyone else, then, and if she goes telling someone, it gets around really quickly. And I think just by telling that one friend what's going on, she can either keep it to herself, which you would probably want her to do, or she can go tell everyone else. You know, you're not controlling other people, but that's when trust is really important to everyone. Well, it should be anyway, because I wouldn't just go up to a random person and tell them about something and then expect them to keep it in, do you know?
Yeah.
So it's really important to have that bond with like that person that you tell as well.
Do you feel that being in care it makes it easier for families to be split up?
It really depends what like the situation is. I mean, it can really vary, to be honest, because it could be you've got moved from your family because of a situation, but then you could have, you know, gone away from your family because of another situation. So it really depends how bad it is or how good it is.
Yeah.
It really depends on what happened to make you come into care.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to explain that more because, you know, yeah.
I think with me, I feel that it's easier for families to get split up after being moved into care because, especially when you don't live with your siblings, siblings can kind of drift away from you. So I think it's quite hard to keep them bonds intact, especially from if you go into care like halfway through your childhood, because you and Tia have been in care since you were really little, haven't you? But myself, I've been in care for 22, 23 months now. And since then, my siblings have kind of drifted a bit. And I feel that that's because when we were living with my mother, obviously we were living in the same house, we'd see each other every day, our bond was quite strong. But now that we're not living with each other anymore, we don't see each other every day, it's quite hard to, you know, keep in contact and keep the bond kind of secure and strong. Tia, what does love mean to you? And is it different with like different people?
Yeah, because love is to me that you can go to someone and like tell them anything and everything and they can like keep it. So that's what's love.
Rox, what do you think about that?
I was with my brother since I was 2, and I think that he's older now, and I think that because he's gone to live with my auntie, I think it's a lot more better for him, and I still have that really strong bond with him, which is good, and that's why, you know, I still love him, and I'll never stop loving him because at the end of the day, he's my brother. And even though I've been with him at 2, it does hurt me to know that he's not with me 24/7 because I've been with him my whole life. And I feel like when I moved with my carers, he was my only family there. But I think now I've built up that trust and love with my carers. I think that I can express myself more to my carers than just keeping it inside and talking to my brother and expect him to say something.
Yeah. I think for me, I'd say that love it really differs between parent love and sibling love and then like romantic love and that. So like sibling love, you get like you're saying like sibling rivalries and stuff where you're always bickering and arguing and that. But at the end of the day, you still love your sibling. And I think it's because of that you've been together your whole life. You've known that person for your entire life that it's kind of instinct, and you'd kind of like instantly trust this person because you spend every day with them. And especially if you're like really close in age, I think you feel like you can talk to this person, your siblings who are closer in age, because they're the same age, they've gone through the same kind of things. And then I think a parent's love is kind of different because your siblings' love, it stays, I'd say, it goes up and down every other day because of like, you know, you're always arguing, stepping on each other's toes and that. But I think a parent's love, it stays in the same kind of level, if you get me. They will obviously love you no matter what you do, because obviously they're you know, your parents. I think that the word love to me means just like a safe place with a certain person, so you can feel in a safe place with family, friends, anyone, and you can love that person no matter what, you know, as long as you can trust them and you feel safe around them. I think that's really what matters.
Yeah, I do agree and everything, but Also, at the same time, when you're living with your parents and you love them, even though they can be strict, it never means they don't stop loving you, and you know. And sometimes they can say something and you can be like, oh gosh, why are they saying that, you know, or like, why aren't they letting me have this or that?
Yeah.
But to be honest, thinking of it, they're trying to keep you safe. They're, you know, like I said, they're always loving you and everything. And everything they do for you, you need to respect, because let's say that your parents said something to you and you didn't know what to, like, how to react or anything.
Yeah.
But they were almost not shouting at you, but telling you something, and you didn't know how to react to it. They're not questioning you, they're just trying to ask you a question. So that's really important as well.
Yeah, I think that comes under like maturity and like age, because I think especially with like younger children, they won't understand that your parents are trying to look after you and protect you. And even though it may seem like they're being harsh, they are doing it for your own benefit. And one day you'll turn around and you'll look at that day and you'll think, oh, so that's why they said that, you know? So yeah, I think obviously your parent they'll always love you, and they'll always try and do the best thing for you, you know? Welcome back to the second part of this episode. Now we're going to be talking about good education and jobs. So Roxy, why is a good education important to you?
I think it's good because you can learn new stuff every day, and you can, like, you know, get to know people in your class, you get to know your teachers, and you get to know, like, learn stuff about yourself as well as other people, and like learn new stuff. Like the saying is, you learn something new every day, and it's very true. Like, you know, we all learn something new every day, whether we're in school, in college, we always learn something new every day. Do you know?
Tia, why is good education important to you?
Good education is important to me, so when you're older you can get a job and you can learn new things, and you can find things interesting in school, like your favourite lessons.
Yeah.
Like, or you can pick for your GCSE. Like year 10 and year 11, you can pick all of the lessons you're really good at, so you're not finding it as hard as all the other subjects you don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that a good education really affects it's really important to me, because it'll set you up really nicely for just life, basically. Tia, how does a good education affect your future career and work life?
Well, it might affect my life because I want to work as a hairdresser when I'm older, but in science we don't learn about chemicals or nothing like that. So I don't know nothing about like sciencey hairdressing thing. So that might mess me up for being a hairdresser.
Yeah. Roxy?
Well, it can help you because in future you can get a job and you can earn money, and that will really help you out with like life and whatever. So when you're older, you can get a job, you can get money, you can get a house of your own, you know, and you can like pay rent. And it really depends as well what job you have, because you have to work really well for that job you want. So like certain subjects you have to really, you know, work hard for. Like Tia said about, you know, she doesn't learn about chemicals. You know, if she took science as a GCSE, she can learn about chemicals because it will come up in a subject. Or so it really depends what you take on your GCSE. So you really need to think about that as well, because it basically gets you ready for life, basically, and it basically leads you on to whatever, you know, you're gonna do. So yeah.
Yeah. I also feel that a lot of schools these days don't give children and young people as enough opportunities. I mean, I feel they could easily introduce a hairdresser in GCSE, which could then teach you about like the specific chemicals needed for different types of hair dyes and all stuff like that.
Like they could do beauty or whatever. They can they do courses as well in college, don't they? So if you go on to college, you know, you can go on to do beauty. Like my sister, she does beauty and she does hair and everything. She's in college and she really enjoys it.
Well, we was going to go to college this year to like learn hair and beauty, but it wasn't enough of us.
Yeah.
Only I wanted to do it, so
Yeah, that's the
we
thing.
couldn't.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of people, they don't really know exactly what they want to do in life until they get to college, because college just opens up a completely new, different world with different like things that you can learn about. Whereas in school, you get restricted to certain topics. Personally, I find that personal circumstances and situations, they kind of affect my aspirations with like working future careers. For example, when I was in year 6, I wanted to become a paleontologist and dig up fossils and stuff. But now, like 10 years later, I now want to help young people in the care system because of circumstances that has happened to me. And I find that things that has happened to you personally can completely change your outlook on life and what you want to do in work. How do you think about this, Rox?
I think it's really important because it basically, you leave school and you basically go on to your next life basically, because school is like a life, but then you go on to your proper life then. Like I said, you earn money and all that. I think it's really important as well because it basically gets you ready for the things out there. Like there's loads of scary stuff out there. And it really gets you ready for whatever you need to, go into when you're out in that world. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Rox. Thank you for that. Now, we're going to move on to a topic called no barriers to opportunity, which means the fact that social services, they help you to get the best out of life, really. My first question is, how does being in care affect your experiences in life? Now, personally, I think that it really affects my experiences in life like in a very positive way, because if I wasn't in care, I wouldn't be able to get my driving lessons paid for. So social services have been kind enough to pay for 10 hours of lessons, my tests, my provisional license, passports, stuff like that. So I think it can be really good to get the best out of life, really. Tia, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think it's positive because they help my brother with like money when he moves out.
Mhm.
Like he's going to get some money to buy like a sofa,
Yeah.
TV, and everything to like get him settled.
Hmm.
And like they help me to like get my passport
Yeah.
and like get me more stuff for school, like school supplies and like school uniform.
Yeah.
And they help my nan giving me money to like keep me like
Like keep you in that placement,
Yeah.
is it? Like in
Yeah.
a warm, safe, healthy placement, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, cool. I also feel that they're really good in helping you, like I said, get the best out of life. By this, I mean when I was in college last year doing my film and media course, they gave me a certain amount of money to buy a camera and some kit for that, which I've managed to get all that, and I've got a lot of use out of that, which could then impact my career, because I want to like use my skills, like maybe make like a small business or something out of it. Is there anything you can like input onto that, Rox?
Well, obviously it's very different for everyone, but I do think social services are very good about everything, and they are very helpful. I haven't really had much experience with them because, obviously they were involved when I was younger, but I was young then, so I couldn't really remember much. But I think they have been involved with my older brothers and they have helped them out a lot, so that's good. But personally, they haven't done anything for me. I think that they do help loads of people out there that need help and support, which is really good of them as well.
Yeah, I think after all we've discussed in this podcast, I think it's really good to explain that being in care isn't all bad, and that social services help you in so many ways. For example, once you've passed 18, you could be entitled to get a young person's advisor, which I've got, and they will help you get set up in your own place or something. They'll help you with driving. They'll help you get your ID. If you've been moved around and lost some personal information, they should be able to help you retrieve this information. So I think it's important to show that being in care isn't all bad at all. What's your opinions on this, Tia?
Well, my opinion is I'm like the same because they said when I'm older I can get a YPA and they'll give me money to like my brother to get like my own house. But like what Roxy said, it's all different like people.
Yeah.
Like she don't get that much help even though she been in like foster and like since she was young like me. But with you, like you only been fostered for a couple months or like a couple of years, so we all like in different positions and everything.
Yeah, so that's also a good point to say that we're all different. Yes, we're all in care, but that's pretty much the only thing that we have in common is the being in care part. We all go into care at different stages of our life, and we all have different experiences, which would then affect how we live our life, basically.
I also think as well, it's nice to have people around you in care so you can talk to them about it and also get their side of their like story and like to see if they have any support as well, because you could have a conversation with someone and they could be really stuck and not have any support, but that doesn't necessarily mean in the future they won't have support. They will. It really depends on, you know, what position you're in, and like Tia said, we're all different. You know, if we were all the same, then it would just kind of be boring, wouldn't it? So we've all got our own qualities.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you too. Thanks, Rox. Thanks, Tia. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.